Alright, so welcome back to the last strategy video for Forest Shuffle Dartmoor. So this one will be about the bat strategy. Now the bat strategy is definitely different enough to talk about. There's definitely some new things to think about when playing bats into your forest, okay? So let's get started. So first we'll do the one that is most people might be familiar with, the Forest Edge expansion into introduced shrubs. And so the common hazel, it lets you draw a card every time you play a bat, which is the main reason why you'd want to play this card is to draw cards for every time you play a bat. But it also, if you satisfy its binocular bonus, it also lets you play a bat for free. The problem is, every single bat in this game, Dartmoor, has an ability. And so if you were to play the common hazel and were able to activate this binocular bonus, you would not get to activate the ability on the bat. That said, there is a workaround. So first of all, let's talk about the bar now, because this is a valid card with the bat strategy. It's powerful. It's worth 3 points for every bat you have, and it also gives you an additional turn if you have at least one bat in your forest. So it's a really good card to play with the bat strategy. Then we have the Gnat. Now this is the card that is infamous with the bat strategy because it lets you play any number of bats for free after you play this card, and it's worth 1 point for every bat you have. However, like I said, this does create the problem that you don't get to activate the abilities of the bats if you play the Gnat. And it's only worth 1 point, so it's not a heartbreaker if you don't play this for that reason. So let's talk about the lake fly next. This is the other new insect that works with the bat strategy. And you'll notice it lets you play a bat for free, but just one for free. But here's the cool thing. It says use its effect, and it's still worth 1 victory point for every bat you have. So what does that mean? It means it means that since all the bats in this game have abilities, you get to not only play one bat for free with the lake fly, but you also get to use its effect as well. Isn't that nice? And so let's go over the bats, because that's the whole reason why we're here. So look at the bats. So the Brant's bat here is, it lets you reveal and put 2 cards from the stack into your cave. So it's another card that's going to score you some extra points for your cave, and it's worth 5 points just like normal with all of the bats. You have to have at least 3 different species of bats to score 5 points for this. But yes, it's just like normal for scoring purposes. But yeah, that's an ability that you might want to utilize for extra points, for sure. Then we have the Alcatho bat. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too. What this one does is it lets you put 2 cards from the clearing into your cave. Once again, another bat that's going to score you some extra points if you can get some cards into your cave. So that's another one you might not want to play for free, or it might be one you might want to play for free with the lake fly. Then we have the Serotine bat. This one just lets you draw a card from the clearing. So maybe it's one you might want to play for free with the common hazel, because its ability isn't as powerful. It's not giving you extra points. It's just letting you draw a card from the clearing, which may or may not be something. There may not be something you want in the clearing anyways, right? So this might be a good one to play for free with the common hazel or the Gnat. And that's the Serotine bat. Then we have the Benton's bat, okay? This is a bat that actually is going to potentially help out with the insect strategy because it lets you play an insect for free. So if you're not going the insect route strategy, if you're not playing a bunch of insects for extra victory points for insects and stuff like that, this one might be a good one to play for free with the common hazel or even with the Gnat. So that's another potential good one you might want to do for free. And then the last bat in this game is the common Noctool, and this one lets you play a plant for free. But once again, if you're not going the plant strategy with the bat strategy, then this one might be another one worth playing for free with either the Gnat or the common hazel. So there's 5 different species of bats. 2 of them are very useful to not play for free unless it's with the lake fly, and 3 of them are potentially better to play with the gnat or the common hazel if you're not going the insect or the plant strategy, or there just isn't a really good card in the clearing that you want. But basically, yeah, that's the entire bat strategy. Now, we will also go over the caves in this video, and then we'll have gone over everything. Okay, might as well. Caves and bats, especially in this game, seem to go well with each other. So, just like any cave, Cave 1 scores the same amount of points for every card in your cave. What this does, though, is if you choose this cave at the start of the game, because when you start the game, you get to choose one of 2 caves, and then if you're playing a 2-player game, you're the second player is just going to get the other cave that you didn't pick. And so basically what it's going to do is you let you place 1 card from the stack as a moor into the forest. So you just draw a card from the stack of cards, and that becomes a moor in your forest, and you start with a moor at the beginning of the game. That's what that does. That's pretty cool. So that was Cave 5. Let's do them in order. So then we have Cave 2. Once again, just scores you 1 point for every card in your cave, but it lets you start with 8 cards in hand. So it's saving you a turn because normally you start with 6 cards in hand. If you take this cave, you get to start with 8 cards in hand. So you're like, it saves you 1 extra turn of the whole game is what it does. Might be useful, might be good. Then we have Cave 3. This one lets you draw 3 cards from the stack, and then you place 3 cards from your hand into the clearing. I like this one a lot because maybe you just have a bunch of cards that you don't think you'll play to start with, and this lets you draw 3 more, and then those 3 cards are good, and you could just discard the other 3 that you don't like. Or, you know, if they're all good, then that does create a dilemma and will create a little bit of extra time in choosing which ones you're going to put into the clearing. Of course, any cards you put into the clearing can be taken by an opponent on their next turn, so there is that, though, right? Okay, then Cave 4. This one is just nice. It just gives you 5 additional points at the end of the game. So it gives you 1 point per card you have in your cave, just like the other ones, but it gives you 5 additional points at the end of game. So that's cool. And then Cave 5, with this one you draw 3 cards from the stack, you keep 1 of them, and then you put the other cards into the clearing. I don't like this one as much because now you don't have an even amount of cards, and so the next time you draw cards, it's going to come to a point where you have 9 now. 9 cards in hand. I don't like that. Plus the other 2 cards that you're looking at are going to go into the clearing, and they might be good as well, and then your opponent gets to take them on their first turn. So yeah, I don't like that cave much at all. That's probably the worst of the 5. Maybe that's why it's last. But yeah, that's everything about all of the cards you need to know about how the cards function in the game. I covered them all, I think. So thank you guys for watching these strategy videos. I'll see you guys again next time.